How's it going, everybody? Combo here. Today we have a very special video. This is probably the longest editing process and the most labor of love style content I have ever put on this channel. Today we are going to be analyzing how realistic is the knife throwing in the finals when compared to real life. Now, unfortunately, I myself have no idea how to throw knives, but fortunately for me, I just so happen to know a very funny skeleton that is quite adept in the subject. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Rattles. Thank you so much for joining me today, Rattles. I am so excited to have you finally participate in a video outside of the intro for once. So rather than have some super complex script where I talk about everything in a super specific manner, I want this video to be as user-friendly as possible. Maybe you'll learn something about knife throwing, but if you're just here to see, hey, how much research did the devs do when designing knife throwing in the finals, that's fine too. So to get things started, let's talk about a good thing that this game does, that being the grip. When you look at the grip in the finals, as Rattles will demonstrate, they actually got this right. You notice when the character is holding the knives, they have their thumbs on the bottom part of the blade. This is known as military half spin. Military half spin is a very simple technique where you throw the knife, it slides off your thumb, and then sticks the target. This is very effective and powerful at those closer ranges. And as Rattles will demonstrate, it's quite easy to pull off. Unfortunately though, this is where the good things start to taper off. One thing that is flawed in the way the character holds the knives in the finals is the way their hands are placed. As you will notice, their front hand is actually behind their backhand and it's sideways. And that front hand, although it is still technically military half spin, is pointed in a very difficult direction, making throwing them, one, in quick succession very hard, and two, very difficult to rotate them to stick effectively. Rattles, would you like to demonstrate this for me?
Bruh.
On a side note as well, because unfortunately kunai kinda suck if we're being honest, from going forward Rattles has informed me that we're going to be using knives that actually work. Show 'em, Rattles. However, even though we might have more reliable knives now, we still have the same issue. In order to remedy this, all we're going to do is take our knives, rotate the one that was sideways, and have both vertical in the same direction. And as you can see, this allows for much more consistency, allowing us to stick that target. The next thing we need to talk about is how our character goes out of a run into throwing the knife, because in the finals, especially on the light build, you're doing a lot of running and dashing, so this is very important. Same thing here, all we're going to do is take that knife out from the side, put them both vertical, and as you can see here, when we run and engage on targets, we can actually throw the knives accurately and hit for that stick. The next thing we need to talk about is throwing those knives at those longer ranges. Similar to Hollywood, the knives in the finals, regardless of how many times they rotate, regardless of the distance, they always stick with the blade into the target. And as Rattles is about to demonstrate, unfortunately, that's not exactly how it works in real life. What the fuck? So yeah, as you can see, just chucking the knife and hoping it rotates correctly to hit the target is not the most reliable method in the world. Fortunately, there is a way around this. What we're going to do is switch from military half spin to competition half spin. The difference here being competition half spin, we have our index finger on the spine of the knife, which allows us to slow down that rotation to hit those targets at those longer ranges, as Rattles will now demonstrate. As you can see, by doing this, we can be very consistent and allow us to control that rotation and hit those longer range targets once again. I know up to this point, it kind of seems like I'm trash talking the devs here saying they didn't do their research, but on the bright side, one thing that might shock you that they did in fact get right was the ability to throw knives from the air. As you can see here, even if you're jumping and sprinting, it's quite easy to do and it's pretty consistent. Now back to the not so good stuff. So yeah, the heavy attack with the throwing knives, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a mess, and as you can see by Rattle's reaction, yeah, it's not very good or practical in the slightest. Rattles, if you would. So yeah, in order to fix this, all we're gonna do is not flip the knives, hold both in normal military half spin fashion, and throw both at the same time. And finally, when comparing how realistic the knife throwing in the finals is to real life, we need to talk about how we engage those targets at closer ranges. Unfortunately, the finals does lose another point in this aspect because it uses military half spin when you're right in a target's face. This is unrealistic, as if I need to make my knife do a full half rotation, I can't punch you in the face and make it do that. However, once again, there is a method in which we can use knives at super close ranges, this being known as no spin throwing. Regardless of what the name might suggest, the knife does not go perfectly straight, it actually does a quarter rotation. As Rattles will demonstrate here, it is very similar to competition half spin, except this time the blade is pointed at the target, your finger goes down the spine, and this allows you to do that quarter rotation at those closer ranges. Anyways, with all that being said, what would I finally rate the knife throwing in the finals when compared to knife throwing in real life? While there are certainly discrepancies, such as the close range, the long range, and most obviously the heavy attack, which, side note, please Embark, if you watch this video, I'm telling you how to make money right here, so please listen. Add an alternate animation for the heavy attack of the throwing knives where you put both of them in front of you and throw them how I showed off in the video. Not only would people buy it, but that would also be super cool because like I made the video and you should totally do that. But who cares? My final rating of the knife throwing here in the finals is gonna be an 8 out of 10. They do more work than most developers simply because of the existence of half spin being in the game. I can tell the developers over at Embark did their research. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. For those who watch me consistently, you know I never ask for that kind of stuff, but as you could probably tell, I hope, this video did take quite a while to make, and for a college student who makes like 20 bucks off YouTube a month and has a full class schedule, although this was a passion project and I'm very happy I made it, it is quite the time investment, so I'd like to see that pay off. I hope that's not like a selfish take. Please, do with that what you will. Anyways, everyone, this has been Combo. Stay home, stay safe, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Later.